Hey, Juventini, welcome back to the All Juve cast. This is episode 11 of season 4, and it's Champions League week again. Trophies in the house, and we're celebrating a victory. Another 1-0 victory. I don't care how they come, just keep them coming, baby. We got Cliff and Anthony here to recap the match. Boys, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Hope everybody's doing well. I'm really excited to get this one going. And obviously, Forza Juve, what a win.
Absolutely.
Good morning, Gaffer. As always, I'm living the dream. Let's get this baby rolling. I'm just going through the predictions because I see Luca asked, so I apologize if I'm looking down, not paying attention. I'm actually doing work. So let's get her started.
Yes, Luca, always concerned with who won the prediction. I must say, though, I pretty much nailed that possession. Whew.
I think that's the winner.
Great. I was like 2 off. I was like 2% off.
On one of the ones I was looking at, it was 57-43, and a couple other ones, it was 58-40, whatever there. Look, I got it, man. Close doesn't cut it here, Cliff.
I would like to announce on this show right now, the official prediction winner is the Gaffer.
There you go.
Wow.
There you go.
Let's end that conversation. We can move on.
Yeah. Vegeta. Oh, yeah. There's someone to keep an eye out on the chat here. Love me some DBZ. Okay.
Yes.
What's up, guys? Alex coming in. Bob.
Watch out, though. Ant might think that's a baseball player.
Always. Absolute pleasure to have all you guys here. I hope that everybody should be very, very happy this morning, despite reading a lot of frustration out there. And again, we talked about it last one as these started to trickle down. This is the 4th straight 1-0 victory. It's a grind right now, but we're going to talk about, is it going to get better, whatnot. But if you don't have the stomach for it, maybe you just listen to the recap afterwards, whatnot.
Get out of here.
Continue to enjoy the points. But hey, like I said, to kick off this show, I don't care how they come, just keep the wins coming. All right. So for everybody tuning in to these podcasts on audio, get over to YouTube, subscribe to the channel, and join us in the live chat. This is where a lot of the fun takes place. And if you're into that kind of thing, you might watch Cliff do something silly on an episode. So don't do it.
Don't do it.
Okay.
I'll do it. Not yet.
So let's get to this, okay? We get this matchup, and we're going to bring up some of the still shots from this one. Lineup-wise, the nice surprise was that nothing serious involving De Ligt, and he was in the lineup. It was a weird one in terms of Sandro, because we got earlier reports Sandro wasn't going to be in the lineup, but then it ended up being De Sciglio in for Danilo. And just a lot of weird things as far as that goes. Everything else pretty much shaped up as we thought it would. The only couple question marks was Artur going to start, or was he going to come in later on? He didn't end up starting, which again was fine. And then the other question mark was, is Allegri going to actually deploy a 4-3-3? Because that was also reported. He did. You got Chiesa, Bernardeschi, Morata. You had 3 in the midfield of Bentancur, McKennie finally getting some minutes, and Locatelli, of course. And across the back, Bonucci, De Ligt, Sandro, De Sciglio, as we talked about. Of course, Szczesny in goal. Absolutely no issues with the lineup. Pretty straightforward. We all had to keep in mind, as much as everybody likes to talk about the fact that, of course, you take it one game at a time. This lineup was definitely good enough to get the result against Zenit, and it also keeps a couple guys ready for the derby coming up on Sunday, right? So you guys have any issues on that starting lineup whatsoever?
Nope.
Go ahead, Cliff.
No, not at all.
I think I hate to start the discussion with a summary, but that game was basically just, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Zenit stink. I thought Zenit was better than what they were. But no, they just, as I always predict, they stink. So on we go.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to get to the key highlights. And the first half's going to be very, very quick and brief here. I'll tell you that. So honestly, a dead half. at the start.
Yep.
There was nothing in it in the first half. I think both teams really just exchanged a couple opportunities. So we'll get to the first one that went to Zenit. And the strange thing about this one, as I talked about in our tactical breakdown video and the match day live, is what Zenit were Juventus going to see? Were we going to see the one that shelled up against Chelsea, that made life difficult and tried to hit them on the counter? The thing that told me we weren't going to see that Zenit was the fact that Zuba was in their lineup, because when they try to shell up, they put their fast guys up top and try to hit you over the top on some long balls, and they'll cheat one of their wing backs. So the odd thing about this was Zuba was in the lineup. It shaped up in their classic setup where they're a 3-4-3, really. And I thought, okay, they're going to come at us. And I like that because that would give us space to operate and hit them. And at some point during this thing, slowly and surely, Juve did get them into their shell. And the weird thing is that Zuba remained for quite some time. So yeah, it was.
Hang on, Zuba's the guy. Zuba's the guy who looks like he's dragging a dead body behind him when he runs, right?
Yeah, that would be Zuba.
That's the guy. Okay,
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure we're talking about the same guy. But
Yeah,
I kind of want to reiterate what Al said there. If you haven't checked out his tactical video from Tuesday night, you want to know something? Al, that was really well done, because I was watching that before the game, and like you said, there wasn't a lot that happened in the first half, but you could see exactly what you said in that video. The first 6 minutes, they went 3-4-3. They were trying to press the back. And then by somewhere, like it was between the 7th and the 20th, they just slowly retreated back into that shell.
Yeah.
And then that was the first half.
And it was very strange. And another thing that I talked about on there was how they use one of their wing backs sometimes to cheat getting up there quicker, and they tried to do that, and it was crazy because one of the still shots I used in that breakdown, we saw that in the first 25 minutes about 3 times where they almost stretched us, but that last ball didn't work.
Right.
And it was crazy. It was almost like picture perfect matchup of what they were doing. And
that's because our defense doesn't stink. That's because our defense doesn't stink. That's why.
I thought Allegri was going to switch Chiesa up to take advantage of that. And I was like, man, if they're going to cheat off that one side, use them there because it'll stretch the whole pitch and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But as Cliff mentioned too, as we were kind of chatting leading up to this, Chiesa was doing his thing on the left. Still, I don't think he's firing quite as we expect and are used to, but he did his part. And we'll get to all that and player performances and everything. But we'll go through just the key highlights. Again, the first opportunity coming to Zenit, and off a slip up from Bernardeschi. He slips up there and unfortunately falls to Malcolm. Finds the ball to Claudinho there, who takes a hell of a rip that didn't look like it was going to be that challenging. And it was just odd watching because you're just like, oh, yeah, okay, it's right at Chesney. But when you see the reverse angle and the swerve on that thing and how the defenders were kind of in his way, challenging save, but he got it. And then Delict, our boy, clears it along there. So we get away with that one. We're okay there. 39th minute, and Chiesa ends up going just wide after Lord Deschilio with a crossfield ball over to him. And Chiesa does his thing. He doesn't end up missing by much. Okay.
He
honestly,
just didn't.
I thought that
he
one
didn't get
that first one.
He didn't get that bend on it that he wanted.
Yeah.
He was in position.
Yeah, he didn't quite get the bend we needed. And 43rd minute, honestly, half just kind of wraps up with a header being deflected on towards goal and Chesney handling it through a crowd, whatnot. And that's kind of how the first half wraps up. And again, we talked about it. Dead half. Not much in it from either team. Everybody's waiting for one of these teams to turn it up. In the second half, both teams actually did. And they started off the first 15 minutes, even 20 minutes in that second half. They were exchanging opportunities. And again, what frustrated me was a lot of the opportunities that Zenit were getting were from our own doings, just loss of possession and whatnot, right? 50th minute, though, a beautiful play by Morata. This was a great ball. This was a great run by McKennie as well. And, the keeper came out really, really quick. McKenny tried to do the right thing. He knew he was coming out, tries to chip her, and ends up getting it off the shoulder there. But a great, great play. Heads up read by Morata, who actually started off on the left side on that one and run across. And great play. Unfortunate not to score there.
I think do you have another one of this? No, if not, it's okay. You can kind of see there that there could be an excuse made to say because he hit it first time, right? He didn't control it hit it first time with his left. Could he have carried that pat around the goalie? The goalie did well. He came out, he shut it down pretty quick. He may have been able to take a touch past the goalie and slide it in. I don't know. It was one of those bang bang.
I think you're right. I think it's one of those things where the composure of a midfielder isn't going to be to the level of a goal
Number
scorer.
9.
Like for me, if Dybala or Morata get that, they make that thought in their head. Okay, maybe let me try to get by the keeper. But I just don't think McKenny, like with his Al said, midfielder, he's not usually thinking on the attack. So he was just thinking, let me finish this. Let me just take a first time opportunity, which is the right mentality, because a lot of this game was they didn't want to pull the trigger. They should have been a little bit more trigger happy, in certain opportunities. So I'm happy he took the shot. Big save.
He missed it by that much. He hit the goalie right here.
Exactly.
So it was really that much.
It wasn't much. He almost finished that. That would have been a beauty of a first one to get there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not the case. We move on, and we get in the 52nd actually a big intervention by Bonucci, cutting off a cross that would have been a very, very dangerous one. In this one, 56th minute, Claudinho comes very, very close. DeCilio needed to get stuck in there.
That was his one bad play of the game. It was a half-ass tackle.
Right.
Yeah.
One time he gets his foot wrong there. He didn't come in as solid as he needed to. Claudinho gets there, and man, he did not miss by much. Just grazing the far side there, and even Chesney full stretch would have never come close to that one. 57th minute, we end up getting a double change, actually triple, because Kulu and Quadrado enter for Sandro and Bernardeschi, and then Artur actually comes in for Locatelli. And we continue on. 73rd, we get a great cross from, again, Lord DeCilio, master of our crosses, okay? And McKenny does well to get to it. You could see here he just puts it wide, not by much. And this is one of the things I talked about too. Depending on how Zenit wanted to play Juventus, if we were going to start to settle for crosses and whatnot, if they were going to get in there, McKenny playing was a good idea because he's good in aerials, right? Morata
very, very good.
One. And there you go. But unlucky for McKenny on this one as well. But we get closer.
So we were talking about this one in the group chat when it happened. If he hit it clean, and towards that back corner, the defender, it may have actually hit the defender. So it's one of those ones where it's like, would it have went in if he hit it clean? Maybe not, but he has to do better there. But I'm happy that we have that we can remind people that even with missing that Portuguese guy, we still have aerial attack in the box, and it's McKenny. McKenny's our aerial threat.
Yeah.
People forget that.
Yeah. And Lorenzo bringing up a good point. Might be time to remove the Lord title off DeCilio.
Not today, my friend. Sorry.
But we continue on, and 76th minute, Keane comes in for Morata. 84th, Ramsey for Bentancur. And then the 85th. Okay. Ball goes across over to DeCilio. DeCilio with another money.
You mean
ball.
Lord DeCilio?
Lord DeCilio.
Just enough. We watch it, hold our breaths, back post in 1-0. At that point, you knew it was done. Max knew so much he didn't even care to watch the final free kick. Let's go on to Sunday and look ahead to the Snakes. Beautiful.
I just want to say, I was screaming when that happened. I was yelling, "The Swede abroad!" as soon as he scored that. I was so happy that because he's Swedish.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah,
We
but
we understand. We
yeah, like Ann
understand.
was giving me a face. I'm like, he's Swedish. I just loved it because that's what Kulu is. I think of him as like I think of him as like a super sub because for me, I haven't seen it like from a starting perspective, but when he comes in, he doesn't do a lot in the gameplay, but he has like one or two moments where he changes the game. Like when he comes in as a sub, obviously this one being the goal.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
one
No,
goal
he's
does not change the hate this kid's going to get on Twitter. It won't,
Oh yeah,
unfortunately.
you're right. Yeah, it's sad.
so DeShilio from Kush coming in here on the left is immense. Antonio
Understatement.
throwing out the beautiful team today, lads, and we
How you
love
doing,
having our
Paul?
boy
Hey, look at
Anto
you,
in
you
there.
big, look at coming in from Glasgow.
And then Luca coming in. I think Max was pissed, to be honest. Yeah, I think so. But they all talked about it, even the players after the match. This one, was it a great performance? No, not by any means. But again, the mark of a strong team is being able to persevere through that and still find a way to get results. But the summary in this one, yeah, tough one. Could we have done better? Absolutely. I feel we could have done better. Possession continues to be something that we give away cheaply. We need to stop that. I think that's Max's biggest frustration with this team. We have to absolutely stop that. Now, your guys' summary before we get to our man of the match and player ratings and whatnot. Let's get some
First,
summaries.
can we get Anto's comment up on here? Can we get it up, please?
He knows. He
And
knows.
never
We need
do a
to make it
Scots
very
accent
clear.
live
You guys
again,
might not like my
ever.
dance, but Ant should never do a Scottish accent ever again.
Fine, I won't.
Okay, let's get to the
On we go.
summaries, boys.
Mhm.
Anthony, summarize this one. I mean, we kind of already did.
Yeah, it's a road Champions League game. If you want to call it a hostile environment, whatever. It's a long way to go. You're just looking for points. You got a packed schedule with games. There's a lot going against you. I would have been happy with a complete overhaul. I think I said this on Monday. I would have been happy with a complete overhaul of the lineup and coming away with 1 point. Max, I think he did a good job of managing the minutes. Everyone got out there. It was nice to see Arthur get out there. But again, it was just like a 1-0, 3 points. Take the points and get on the plane and get the hell out of there. No injuries, I don't think. I didn't hear anything about any injuries.
No.
So yeah, it was a weird, pregame in the sense that there's nothing really wasn't really an exciting matchup, and then it turned out to be not really an exciting game. But we'll take it.
Yeah, I mean,
and we all kind of predicted a healthier victory from Juventus, and honestly, the elements were there to get that. Just lacking a bit of sharpness there. We talked a bit about this too, and 4-3-3 on paper, whatnot, a little bit awkward, and that's when we get into some of the player performances, which we'll get into here. Cliff, give us brief your thoughts on this one.
I mean, Ant didn't leave me any crumbs, really. Like he basically summarized it perfectly. And we talked about this yesterday in the pre-match. It basically went exactly how we thought. I thought we would hold majority of possession, but they were going to, basically shell up. Like we said, they basically put the clamps on the match because they didn't want to concede. They were very content going for a 0-0 draw or maybe getting a surprise goal at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But what turned out, DeShilio was putting in great crosses all game. I was like, one of these is going to hit. And then finally one did hit, and it was the game winner. So it was, a very boring match, like we said. I wasn't expecting it to be super exciting, but, with Allegri's matches, these are some of the matches you're going to see. Like we said, I said this yesterday, this is the classic Allegri style. We're going to be seeing a lot more 1-0, 2-0 wins. And, you just have to have the stomach for it. Because I remember in his last season, I was like getting so much agita every other match watching the games. But you knew at like the end of the day, you'd find a way to get a result. So at the end of the day, that's all that matters. But I want to make a quick note in this one. Malcolm came off. I forget what minute it was in. But if Malcolm stays on the pitch, he was giving us some trouble, Malcolm. So, unfortunate that he comes out with an injury. Hopefully he's okay. He's had some injury issues in the past. So I just want to, give a shout out to him because he's a talented player. It's just unfortunate to see him go off.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So great summary. I agree. Everything we're saying. We have Allegri himself in the house.
Oh
Okay.
man, the
So
gaffer.
here we go. The magician Allegri in the house. Everybody listen to the mister, okay? Like the video, guys. It helps with spreading the channel. Let's go. Take a couple seconds, like the video. If you're new here, please subscribe to the channel. It's
We didn't pay
your
him to say
one-stop
that. We
shop
did
for
not pay him to
everything
say that.
Juventus. All right. So now we've got some more comments coming in here. As we see, it was a perfect game from an overall strategic standpoint, given the bigger match against Inter on Sunday. The team managed their pace very well and conserved for a match on Sunday. Job
Great point.
done. 3 points. Yeah. I like that. RB comps coming in here. You know Allegri's cooking when DeCilio's playing like prime Marcello and prime Carlos.
I would say
it's
prime
Lord
Maldini.
DeCilio, please.
And
I'd say
Lord
prime
Eric-
Maldini.
Eric coming in here with, I was surprised Chiesa was left on the pitch that long.
He's not
Yeah.
wrong.
Interesting point. Again, we didn't break through that match until later, and he was the most likely looking, anyways, to score for Juve, right? So, yeah, but I do understand Eric's point there.
I think
Luka,
I think something that we missed in the first half summary, which was not much. We had maybe three. There was like 3 instances where there was passing. We had passing in the box, and we just didn't pull the trigger. I know Cliff mentioned it, but maybe Zenit did a good job of like getting in the way, but it just needed that one extra pass, or that we made that one extra pass that we didn't have to, and it was a little frustrating in the first half watching that stuff. I know a lot of people were saying pull the trigger, but whatever. On we go. 1-0.
yeah, we're gonna get to that for sure.
Real quick for Chiesa, obviously he was making good runs. The only problem I had was he was very predictable. Like the defense knew he was going to always go on his right foot. But then later, I think it was in the second half, he had one run where he made it look like he was going on his right. He cut back and tried to dribble it up on his left. That's what he needs to be doing more of, because he has a technique where he can take it with both feet. So he should try to be a little bit more unpredictable in his movements, because if he gets even a split second of or even a millisecond of room, he can fire that and get a shot on target. So he just got to be a little bit more creative in the way he's playing.
Yeah, we got a good question coming in here from the Mister himself. Do you agree that overpraising is as bad as over criticizing? In my opinion, Chiesa was lost with bad decisions the last couple of matches. I expect top performance from Chiesa on every match. The strange thing is, and we talked about this, and this, there you go, previously Enlightened Buzz. So there you go. He has switched his name to Magician Allegri.
He pulled back the curtain. He pulled back the curtain, and now we know.
Yeah, now we know. So that's great. And appreciate all the support. He's always in here
Every
on
show.
the lives. Love it. So this is interesting. I agree that in the past 2, this one included, obviously, and then the previous match, Chiesa was not what we needed. The previous match, though, was a little more out of position, I would say, that factored into it. This one, again, yeah, did he have decision errors? Absolutely. So did a lot of the team. And again, he still was looking like the most likely to break the deadlock. He didn't get a few shots off correctly. Even with Cliff saying that he was predictable or whatnot and what he was doing, they still couldn't stop it. And even if you know something's going to happen, it's still tough to stop. He's a tricky player. Towards the end, he did start trying to take it to his left. The funny thing about Case is that it feels like every time this kid takes a rip and it doesn't work out or it doesn't go in, you just hear all the shouts and you see him always defending the fact that he's shooting. And a couple of the opportunities where I saw other players giving him flack, I'm thinking, man, if I'm in that scenario, I'm doing the same thing. And I'm taking those shots. I'm taking those attempts. Especially in a game like this where we had other players that were getting into opportunities that weren't taking those hits.
Yeah, I'd say you guys aren't shooting. I got to do the shooting. You should be shooting the ball too.
Yeah, it's hard. But Anthony, you look like you wanted to respond to this comment and question there earlier. Is it? Do you agree in overpraising being as bad as over criticizing?
No, I'm going to overpraise the hell out of people when they deserve it. But I'm not going to be the overcritical one. If you and I were overcritical in week 3, we would have said season's over. But what do we say? We said, wait, let Max do his thing. Same with Chiesa. A couple bad games in a row. They play 38 league games plus what, 7, 8 Champions League games plus national team games. Like, it's okay to have a bit of a dead spot. It's a busy month. Like you said, he was out of position last game. This game, it's an away game. Who knows what's going on? I would just say I'll pump the brakes on that one. But if he plays well against Inter on Sunday, he's the greatest player of all time. And I'll say that.
Oh, and there you have it. Richard coming in here. Allegri should encourage Chiesa to pass ball team. It's in a better position to score than always shooting at goal himself. Again, it's hard. It's a very, very hard switch, and it's a dangerous game to play.
Yeah, you don't want them to shut that off.
When you're asking some of your killers to try and shut that off. So it's very, very hard.
What Allegri does.
Again, if you're looking at some of those scenarios, and I'm thinking about myself when I'm playing and whatnot, like, you're not going to ask this guy to take those rips away. And it's hard. And when the game's being played, all players miss opportunities. And it's very easy to sit back, watch a screen, pause a moment and say, look at this guy. He's wide open. But in the moment, and you put yourself in those shoes, you can understand why that gets missed. Eric comes in here saying, I think Chiesa gets fair criticism because of how well liked he is. Understand, as good as he is, he's going to have bad games. All professionals do, and that's okay. Absolutely. We're going to get to a couple more comments here. Antonio, I understand people want to see a good old 3-4 win, but 1-0 gets you the same amount of points. I'm happy to see this team grow and become more satisfied to suffer together. Progress. Bravo, Antonio.
Exactly.
Well said. Now, I have a question for all our viewers and our panel. Who is more sensitive, Luca Natale or CR's fan base? No, Luca, we did not ignore your question. Okay, we are getting to the man of the match right now, which is, of course, brought to you by our sponsor, stripedheartsapparel.com. Check them out.
He's part of the team. He knows what we do.
It's silly. It's silly. So his question was, does Bonucci deserve man of the match? So let's get to our player ratings. We're just going to we of course just love doing the man of the match and then the lowest rating. Cliff, kick us off with your man of the match and your lowest rated player.
So real quick with your question, who's more sensitive? I'm surrounded by Ronnie fanboys. Some of my friends are Ronnie fanboys, and I think Luca might be more sensitive than even them. But we're going to move on from that. I think for the man of the match, I think it goes to Lord DeCilio, because he was putting in good crosses all game. He was good defensively. Besides that one slip up, I thought he was good. When he made mistakes, he was very quick to drop back and make up for it. I loved his effort. I loved what he did out there. My lowest would have to be with Bentancur. He just did not look with it out there. He did not look great. I'm going to say this time and time again. I just don't think he's good enough to be starting. I would take McKennie over him in a heartbeat.
Interesting.
Anthony, right there.
Your man of the match and your lowest rated player.
It's hard not to go with DeCilio, but the whole match, I kept commenting to the boys that De Ligt is an absolute bully. And these past 2 games, he's just like a big kid bullying little kids. So I'm going to go with De Ligt, knowing that, DeCilio had a great game, and I'll concede that point. But I love watching number 4 play, man. It is awesome. I'm so happy that we pay him his money and he plays for us. Lowest rated, again, kind of a meh game. I would say there was like DeCilio, De Ligt, and then everybody else. Lowest rated, probably Sandro. Like, he didn't really he wasn't really around. Sandro, he was there. Sandro, you know what I mean? Everyone's just kind of all on that same level for me. So I'd just say Sandro.
And that's fair. That's fair. So, I look at some of the ratings that were going around. For myself, I had it between 3. I had it between DeCilio, I had it between De Ligt and Bonucci. We know Bonucci got the official man of the match, but I personally did feel that the other 2 were above him. But I understand the shouts for Bonucci. I personally
everywhere.
And I seem to flip back and forth, so I'm not even going to give mine because it would be DeCilio, it would be De Ligt, it would be one of those 2. I'm absolutely fine with it. now that I think about it too, kind of edge towards Delict. But again, I was flipping back and forth out of those two. But I do agree with some of the shouts for Bonucci. I saw some shouts for Kulishevsky simply for the game winner. But again, the rest of the performance was too okay. And this is the thing too, even when you're trying to lay the lowest rating on a player, I think it's hard in a game like this because, like I said, everybody, like a lot of players were just okay. So to try and separate out of all those players that were just okay, who was the absolute lowest rating? Yeah, it's kind of hard. A lot of
And I think
5.5s out there being dished out, Bentancur being the lowest. I didn't think it was that rough out of Bentancur, to be honest. Maybe McKinney
if I
had a couple
can,
good opportunities. He didn't. I honestly, I saw Locatelli struggle a lot,
he did.
immensely, especially on the ball, which was very, very strange for him. But he did settle down. He had a point in the match where he settled down, and then all of a sudden it was like, okay, this is okay. But
He's our golden boy too. You can't touch him.
well, is what it is. I mean, I'm gonna keep it equal standards on everybody when I come out. I thought he wasn't at his level.
Yeah.
But Bentancur, just to not fault the kid, it just seemed like he was where the ball was all game.
Yeah.
Like so is that a bad thing? He did a lot of work to be where the ball was. So obviously he's going to have more touches on the ball and more occasions to possibly make mistakes. But he was everywhere. He was all over the place. Him and McKinney.
I want to say, was it this game or the other game that Artur got the yellow?
He got a yellow. Yeah, he took a guy down
play,
right when he came in. He gave up a free kick.
That was the thing is though, that wasn't on him because it was Bentancur's missed challenge that caused, because if Bentancur never lost the ball and never had to miss that, if he never missed that challenge, that would never have put an Artur in that situation to have to get a yellow card. Because actually no, I don't think he lost the ball, but there was a guy coming right at him. He literally just let the player run right by him, and then Artur had to cover that space and try to make a rash tackle. Whether we want to say it's a yellow or not is a different thing. But Bentancur, if he makes that challenge or at least puts a body in front of him, Artur never takes that yellow so early. So it's just those little things that Bentancur needs to be better at. Like, he's very liable on defense.
Or maybe Bentancur figured, Zenit stinks, so I'll just let this guy go past. They're not going to score.
Well, here's one of the things. Like, honestly, if we were going to go in there, I would have rated Weston lower than Benta in this game.
No,
absolutely.
No,
Cliff, you need to get over this thing, man.
No, Al, I will take this to the grave. I think McKinney's a better player.
You can take it to the grave. It doesn't change anything.
I'll pass you the shovel.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man.
Again,
whether it's positionally because the 4-3-3 didn't truly play like that, and Bernardeschi was kind of everywhere on the right, and it made things weird for McKinney. Regardless, he got in good position a couple times. It didn't work out, but outside of that, he really didn't do a whole bunch. And honestly, Bentancur, okay, did he struggle, have some bad decision? Again, Anthony touches on something. He was always involved some way or another. So I don't know. And now you get all the shouts. It's basically Cliff and Luca against everybody else. A lot are saying McKinney just simply isn't good enough for Juventus.
That's just not true. That's objectively not true.
He's not getting the minutes. And honestly, Max...
if he gets to play more, I think you see a significant difference in not technical ability, because Bentancur is more technical than McKinney. That's obvious. But work rate, Grinta, the things that are not tangible.
He's not going to pass Bentancur for Grinta and work rate. Don't kid yourself, Cliff.
Yes, you will. McKinney is much better.
Not even close. Yes. It's not even close.
No, he's better work rate wise and defensively too. He's a lot more sound.
Francisco would be grabbing his mic right now and flapping your screen silly, because the one thing about Bentancur nobody can take away is the fact that whether he's on a bad game or he's on a good game, that guy gives you 120% everything that's in him.
Okay.
I can't agree with that.
Okay, I'll concede that. But if you can't defend properly, then Grinta means nothing if you can't defend properly.
I don't see a great defender in McKinney.
He plays center back at Schalke. He actually played center back, though.
Yeah, but playing somewhere and not doing well at it, okay.
I we
You're
can have this
reaching.
debate till
You're
we're silly.
reaching.
Okay, you
Look,
two
look.
figure this out. I'm gonna go grab a coffee. You guys, let me know when
Yeah.
you guys are done.
He's
No, but like
reaching.
You guys
we
good?
have very different thoughts. Al is more pro Bentancur, and I've known that, and I'm more pro McKinney, and that's okay.
They're
We
both
can have
supporting
arguments.
midfielders. McKinney will get his opportunities. Bentancur will get his opportunities. Again, I see a lot of guys in our midfield that really can't share the pitch
Yeah,
together. We need to keep them separate and whatnot. Those two, I think so. But again, you're going to have matches like this where Anthony says you just got to go in there, get a result, and not worry so much about what you're doing fundamentally as
Yeah.
far as the setup. Now,
Yeah.
let's get going to that was fun, by the way. The man of the match recap. That one got a little good. Cliff
Is that what we were
is
talking
going to
about?
die
Oh.
on the McKinney Hill. I like that.
I will.
So- We got to talk about this because we're used to this when we hear about Allegri, and now that's 4 1-0 wins in a row.
Rack them
and
up.
A lot of fans that are frustrated. And for me, I just summarized this game and said, hey, enjoy any and all victories. Winning is all that matters. Okay. I do want to see the team take that next step. I believe they can take the next step. But right now, for where we are, I'm happy. And the reason is because I thought it was going to be the other way around. I thought when Allegri came back, the first thing he would do is have the team playing better, and then the mentality and the identity would kind of form from there. I've almost seen it kind of flip, and we've kind of got that we're going to suffer and get the results at all cost mentality, and the play is what needs to take that next step. How do we take the next step is the question to you guys. Is it always going to be a grind? I don't believe it's going to always be a grind like this, and I believe things will turn around. Possession continues to be our one downfall where we give it up too cheaply. Dybala is going to be huge. Dybala is going to be huge. He's a big key for us. Arthur and Locatelli, they were split up yesterday. Moving forward, I see them together, which is going to be huge for us. How do you guys think we take the next step? Anthony.
You want me to start? Okay. Can we highlight RB Comps' latest comment there, please? Because that sums it up really good. If you want entertainment, go to the circus. This is a business, and we need wins. 1-0 wins. Now, where were all these people? Are these the same people that were complaining week 2 when we lost to Empoli or whatever that game was? See, I even forgot the results of those games because it's a completely different team. It's a completely different outlook. It's same players, different team, like you said, different mentality. This is how it's going to be. Whether you like it or not. If you don't like it, you just get out, because we're gonna grind out wins. Some are going to be pretty, some might be exciting, and most aren't. But if you want to get back to the top of the mountain, it's going to take one step at a time. And he's shown that in the past 8 games. It's 8
undefeated.
8 undefeated. So I love it. I'm all in for it, however they come, because I remember what it was like last year and the first 2-3 games of this season. People seem to have a short memory.
Yeah.
I want to go off of that. So true with all of this. I think going forward, this is the system. And I'm going to go out on a limb. This is a bold prediction, and that's okay. I think the max goals, no pun intended, the max amount of goals we will see this season in any Juve match this season will be 3 goals. I think that is the ceiling of what we will see from this team. I think that is the max output we will see. Allegri doesn't like to push his foot on the gas a lot. If he scores up to 3 goals in a match, he is happy as can be, and he will sit back the rest of the match if he scores 3 goals. I think that's the max amount of goals we'll see in any Juve match this season. It's just going to be a lot of 1-0, a lot of 2-0 wins.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
Yeah, it is. I still say this team will evolve and make a shift. There's too much talent for it not to happen naturally. I think honestly, the biggest thing was stop conceding all these goals.
Mm-hmm.
The team has done that. The other facet was play with a maximum level of focus and determination for 90 minutes. For 2+ seasons, we were dropping 40 to 60 minute performances. Okay. And now you've got a good stretch of 90-minute performances.
Yeah, no bad halves. Not a bad half. I can't remember last time we had a bad half.
Yeah, like it's honestly like that shift that's a big turnaround. I don't think and I get it, and if it happens and we get these grinds again, as long as we're getting the results, it's okay. But I think with the players we have, it's going to get better and it's going to click. And again, one of the biggest reasons that I feel this way is that's 2 matches in a row now where key guys were not up to the standards that they've set for themselves. We're talking about Chiesa not performing up to his abilities, which we've seen, and his level. Quadrado is now on a couple, and Quadrado's a key contributor to Juventus, and he's on a couple down performances by his standards. And with these guys, it's not going to be like that. Like these are off games for them by their standards. As these guys pick it up, as Dybala enters the fold, now with Artur back in the fold, we'll have our grinds in there, but I honestly think there's a whole nother level of untapped potential that this team, they'll hit it. That was Max's one kind of downfall that towards the end that had the fans frustrating, is that the team could never take the next step, could never go through the gears. Okay. And I just don't see that happening again. I think Max finds a way to tap into everybody. Right now, he's pulling the right strings too, as far as man management, right? Mm-hmm. So I see it coming. If it stays like this though, I'll take 1-0 wins all season long.
Everyone.
Okay? Straight through till we hoist this bastard behind me, okay? So with that, we'll get to a bit of the topics around. So Champions League, 3 wins, okay, out of the 3 matches we had, 9 points. 1 more clinches qualification for the knockouts. Fantastic job, okay? I'd like to also take this moment to congratulate record breakers Milan on not winning a group stage game for 3 consecutive Champions League group stage matches. Massive props to Milan. Congratulations, record breakers. All right. And yeah, we got to have some fun. We got to take some shots. I hope, Ruizinho, you're watching. Magnificent bastard. Okay. Now, Champions League, we're wrapped up. We're going to start looking ahead to the Derby d'Italia. Okay. Big match. Big match. Another moment, another opportunity for Juventus to instill the fear in the rivals. Okay. What are we expecting here? What are we expecting this one? It's going to be cagey.
Go ahead, Cliff.
100%. I think Al hit it best. It's going to be a cagey match. I think this is going to, I spoke on this on another pod last night. It's going to be a really tough match, and people are going to get mad at me for saying this. My heart, I want Juve to win. Of course I want Juve, but I also have to think about this from a tactical standpoint. You have to think about this realistically. I think Inter have a very good chance to win this as well. I think Inter could win this 2-1. We have to be very, very, very careful because they have the depth. They could bring in guys off the bench, and they're just as competent as the guys in the starting lineup. I think we'd be kidding ourselves if we said otherwise because they're a talented side. And Lautaro playing off Dzeko, you have 2 very different players, but who play very well off of one another. And then you have Correa coming off the bench. He's a very, very good technical player, very similar to Dybala in some senses. But I do think out the back, defensively, we match up very well with them. We're very good defensively. I expect it to be a very low-scoring match, 2-1, or either way. It could go either way with this one, but I think 2-1 is going to be the result that stands.
An Inter led by Conte makes me a little more weary than an Inter led by Inzaghi.
That's fair.
That's honestly, I don't see them being as concerning as they were last season, especially with no Lukaku. That's just how I personally feel. I don't take away anything that you're saying, Cliff, because, yeah, I mean, they are still up there in the table and whatnot. They're doing well, but it's a different feeling team. And it honestly, it doesn't concern me as much as the Conte-led Inter did. Anthony, your thoughts?
What are we talking about here? What are we talking? Correa? like the guy who's done nothing ever against Juventus. Like, what are we talking about here? It's losing Conte was the biggest loss for them, and whatever. The other guy there, Lukaku. This is not the same Inter team as last year. Don't kid yourselves. They lost that bite last year. They had that bite, and that's what Napoli has now. They have that edge where they're going to grind out wins. That does not exist anymore with this Inter team. I think they stink. And I don't think this game's even going to be close in the second half. The first half is, like you said, the Derby d'Italia is always going to be a grind. It's going to be cagey, but no, this one's going to be 2-3-0 once we get rolling. Inter's not the same team.
Are you kidding me,
2 or
dude?
3 nil.
Come on, man.
I don't think they're the same
What are you
team.
drinking
I
this
really
morning?
I really don't think they're the same
Some
team.
whiskey in your coffee this morning? My God.
I tell you what, man. I hope he's right. I would love.
I hope he's right. Yeah, of course. I hope we win 3-0.
I think it's gonna be tight. I think it's gonna be tight. But I mean, if it's 1-0 late and then you get another one and make it 2-0, yeah, it's not crazy to think about.
Handanovic is still their goalie, right? That's still their goalie. Oh,
hey,
okay.
Chesney hasn't been phenomenal either.
What?
Oh, he's turned around quite.
He's turned it around, but he still had.
Get him out.
He still had some
Get him
iffy
out.
moments. He's had some iffy moments. Let's not pretend like he hasn't been shaky at times. So I think this is a very well matched up game. I think this is going to turn out to be a really exciting. Not like this one. It's not going to be boring. It's going to be extremely exciting.
Good thing I wasn't on that pod last night.
Cliff dropping takes and looking like he's held up at gunpoint, throwing the hands up here. He's just like,
hey guys, no.
I will never give Inter credit for anything. Never.
Yeah.
You know what? I gotta be the objective one on the show, guys. I gotta be the level-headed one.
No, it's all good. So Lorenzo coming in here saying another 1-0, making it 5 in a row. Steal Juve. Antonio with this game has a draw written all over it.
I'll talk with Antonio privately after this.
Expecting the goal from Paulo in the 82nd minute. So Paulo, of course, not sure if he's going to start. But he should be at least available, okay? And we've got Hassan coming in here saying if it's in Allianz Stadium that we will win 3-0. So it isn't. It's
away.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's away. I will confirm right now quickly for everybody.
I want to say real quick, Al, and I want to pose this to you guys. Over under on minutes for Dybala, 30 minutes. Over under. What are you taking?
Under.
Okay, I'd go under, but just slightly.
Yeah,
somewhere in the 70th.
Yeah,
70, 65th, 70th minute.
Alex P, 2-0 Juve.
Alex, my boy.
A breeze. Alex on the Anthony train. I like it. Okay. Now, we kind of covered that. We're just looking forward to it. But of course, we have our match day lives. We'll have our tactical breakdown. So we'll get a lot more in depth. One of the surrounding topics today, as I see floating around, is that Chiellini and Bonucci have recently spoken out on the whole Ronaldo situation. And also, all or nothing, Juventus is finally coming out, okay, in November. The trailer.
Don't ruin it for me. Don't tell me what happens.
What?
Don't tell me what happens. Don't ruin it for me.
Take it easy. Now, here we go. Chiellini and Bonucci speaking out on Ronaldo's situation and him leaving, and them being honest about the team, how they felt, and potentially it kind of somewhat implying that it had something to do with some weird emotions and feelings, maybe resulting into a slow start or an off-putting start. And of course, why I posed the question, who's more insecure earlier? Of course, now the words being spoken that they are snakes. Why say that? He has no chance to defend himself. All this nonsense. That does not make them snakes. Okay. This is the most ridiculous thing I've seen reading from one of the most insecure fan bases ever. Look, they can tell you and give you an inside look onto what was going on at the time. Nobody, absolutely nobody, regardless of the rumors that we circulate and we listen to, we hear and we read, nobody can paint the picture than the people actually involved. Okay. And they're saying that, yeah, it was odd. Maybe when a guy shows up to training camp, regardless, because I know that the one defense they have is that he let the team know in May that he was looking for alternatives. Okay. regardless, you've come back to camp. You're very, very short period away from starting the season. It's going to have an effect. He's Cristiano Ronaldo. And Chiellini and Bonucci are not wrong for saying something like that, even if it implies that. That's my personal opinion. Other people need to also go further and read the full interview if you're going to lose your mind over something. Because Chiellini also said that he understood why Cristiano did it, because he's looking at the now, which makes sense in his situation, and not the future, which is the project that Juve is currently orchestrating, trying to build something that will be sustainable for years to come. So if you read that, it's perfectly fine what they said. They're just blowing a gasket. I want to get your guys' take on all this.
Well, I didn't read the article, so hopefully I can pick it up later. But just based on what we're going on here, Ronaldo is like his own universe, and
Yeah.
when this sort of planet comes into your area, it's just going to do its own thing. It creates its own noise, and I don't think anyone has ever spoken badly about Ronaldo as a person. I've never seen anything like that. I've never seen anything that said he's a bad teammate, or he put himself, before teammates, like specifically. I think it's just his orbit just takes up a whole bunch of, just like a tornado, it just sucks in everything else, and media attention, and just the noise that it creates. So and obviously when he leaves, it's going to create more noise as well. And the team, like as a teammate, you're going to have a different mentality when a player like that is on your team. So then when he leaves, it leaves a void. You're obviously going to ask, well, what the hell are we going to do now?
Yeah.
Even though you have Max that's going to say, this is what we're going to do. Well, you still have doubts, but you can see that I think the team has really overcome that. But no, I don't have a problem with. I don't think they're speaking out. I think, like you said, they're just kind of explaining what it was like.
And the other thing is, we have to be realistic, and Max spoke to it too. He made errors in not understanding who he could use in what roles, and there was some definite lineup issues that we could spot a mile away, and he called himself on it. So I think the couple things, it's easy to see why Juve started off out of the gate kind of slow. Cliff, let's get your thoughts on just kind of this discussion quick.
Zero problem with what they said. And I've been saying this from the beginning. Ronaldo is one of the GOATs, one of the best players of all time, without question. Like Ant said, no problems off the pitch, no problems with getting into fights. But when you look at him on the pitch, objectively, you watch him play. When he doesn't get the ball, he is like, why didn't you give me the ball? Pass me the ball. Like, it revolves around him. And you need some of your best players to have that mentality to give me the ball and want to shoot. But sometimes he was always asking for it. The play revolved around him. The play was going through him when it should have been a lot more free-flowing. And that's why Juve had some of their problems. And like you said, the media attention always surrounding him, it was a big cloud over Juventus. Juventus have not had, I would say, such a polarizing figure in their squad in a very, very long time. And I think it was ever. Yeah, I think that's fine. Ever.
We've had big ones, but not this big.
Not to his level. Panju brings up a great point too, actually. And the media put out what the question is too sometimes, because even that paints a different perspective, right? So he's got a great point there. But again, it's just a lot of misunderstanding. And really, I said this a long time ago, and it was, taken in whatever context that fans wanted to take it. But I always said it. We believed we were ready for that missing piece. We found out we weren't. And even throughout it, not supporting him properly, all that, we just weren't set up to have him at that point in his career, which is a big luxury. It's a luxury to have a finisher like that. We just weren't set up for it.
This was
right?
2 or 3 seasons too late. If they had this Ronaldo in the past team, they would have won the UCL. UCL.
Yeah, it was the right guy. It's just wrong time. And the other thing is too, I still stick by this. I remember saying this at one point, like towards the end of Allegri's first tenure. And I remember the backlash and everything, and just being, whatever, just people having crazy reactions to it. But I said, the one issue that Juve had at that point was a fading identity. And I always had this belief that Max Allegri, after the first season with Ronaldo, knew he didn't, and this was taken the wrong way because they thought I was saying that Max wanted Ronaldo out. No, that's not what I was trying to say. What I was trying to say is that I believe Max knew how hard it would be to create an identity with that persona at the team. And I do believe he asked for a revamp in players to support him. But I also believe that he wanted to tighten the reins, so to speak, on that persona in order for the good of the team. I think there was difference of opinions there on the Ronaldo project. And I think eventually Nedved, Paratici, like the flash in the pan type thing always took over the financials, the branding, and everything kind of took away from the club aspect. And I was not surprised when Max came back that all of a sudden you started to hear the talk about Dybala is going to be the captain, and he's going to be the focal point of the project. All of a sudden you start getting a couple preseason games and you get a certain somebody off of free kicks and whatnot, and you start to slowly see this divide being created. It was no surprise. I wasn't surprised. Were you?
Nope. And I think it was for the best. I think it was for the best for both, parties to part ways. It came late. It came way too late, in my opinion, but in most people's opinions. But I think Dybala is the right person to make the focal point going forward because he's a creative-minded player. He can score goals. He can assist. He does everything up front. It's just about staying healthy because he's the type of player you want to build around.
Yeah.
I was very worried when he left because it blew up all my preseason predictions. Like that hurt. That hurt a lot. That
it did hurt the
made me look
prediction.
like an idiot.
You said
I was
the
in
dead
there
look
too.
in Anthony's
Actually, I was
eyes.
in there too, and on a couple there for Ronaldo. But yeah, I mean, again, it's just I don't think the match was truly ever there, And I think honestly, if you look back on the tenure, and it's just a strange.
It was fun. It was fun.
Like you're all pumped up. You got this new toy, and then you're like a kid. You kind of get bored of it, and it just wasn't that match. It just wasn't there, right? In terms of Dybala, I think the last couple games have showed his importance to the side, especially trying to break down very organized teams, which I will give credit to Zenit. They were very, very organized and structured. Hell, they held Chelsea. Chelsea needed the same thing, a header from Lukaku to break through later on in that match. So, yeah, it's he's big for us in breaking these teams down. Chiesa, De Ligt, big time focal points for this Juve moving forward. Ronaldo, right guy, bad timing. Bad timing. Pandemic played a huge factor. But I always had that theory about Allegri and after that first year with Cristiano Ronaldo. So it's interesting. But these comments come out from Chiellini and Bonucci. We can't take too much out of it. They're just shedding some light on what was going on behind the scenes. Nobody needs to get too fired up about it. Okay. Now, guys, again, awesome, always awesome discussing a victory, especially in the Champions League. Close to qualification there, okay, for the knockouts. Big game coming Sunday, okay. Cliff giving a little too much respect than we'd like to see, but that's okay. That's okay. Anthony shutting it down immediately as he does. I love it. Everybody who joined the live, fantastic having you all aboard. Enjoy the victory, okay? And then we're going to start getting ready for Inter, okay? Tactical breakdown video will be coming. And of course, match day live, all right? And we'll have might have some special guest appearances from an Inter fan, and we might have to put them through the ringer. All right. So
I'm not available.
You're going to want to be live for that one. All right. Thanks again, everybody. Anthony, Cliff, always a pleasure. Again, if you're listening to the audio on this, get over to YouTube channel, subscribe, and everybody that's here now, like the video. It takes a couple seconds, means a lot, and helps the channel out. And please share all the content, and let's continue to grow this amazing community that we have at All Juve Cast. All right, Forza Juve, Fino alla fine. Till next time, ciao.